What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest stars enters a morning show and completely flips the script? What if an innocent interview about a new movie becomes a battlefield, sparking an explosive debate that stuns millions? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most heated live TV moments ever, and trust me, you won't believe how fast things take a turn. But before we jump into the action, take a second to hit that subscribe button. Then leave a comment below telling me your thoughts on celebs losing it on live TV. Is it all for the show? Or is there something more happening behind the scenes? Let's get started with this unforgettable moment. The scene unfolds. The cameras roll, the studio lights shine, and Michael Strahan sits across from none other than Matt Damon, ready for what was supposed to be a light-hearted chat about his new action-packed film. The atmosphere is warm, almost friendly. Strahan starts off easy, his trademark smile in place. "Matt," Strahan says, "great to have you here. Your film's getting rave reviews, but let's talk about something else for a second. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about Hollywood's diversity problem. Your movie's been caught up in that conversation. What's your take on that?" And just like that, the air shifts. Matt Damon's face hardens. His jaw tightens. He's caught off guard, but it's clear he's not happy with the question. "Well, Michael," Damon starts, his voice calm but tinged with frustration, "it's interesting that after all the time, effort, and talent that went into this film, the first thing you want to talk about is some online controversy. Why don't we focus on the movie and the hard work behind it?" Strahan's smile fades, but his voice stays steady. "These are the questions people are asking. The conversation's happening right now in Hollywood. I'm giving you a chance to address it." Damon's face flushes. A chance to respond? Or a chance to ambush me? No one's asked me about this. In the 20 interviews I've done for this movie, and now you want to make this the focus? The tension is thick now. Strahan shifts in his seat, his voice taking a more serious tone. "If you don't want to talk about it, that speaks volumes. It's a topic that's shaking up Hollywood right now, and as a guest, you're here to answer tough questions. That's part of the job." The silence in the room grows. You can almost hear the collective breath being held as both men brace for what's coming next. Strahan's face now has a slight tension behind it, a shift from his usual friendly demeanor. "Listen, Matt," Strahan presses, "this isn't about Twitter or internet outrage. It's about something bigger, representation in the movies, and why it still seems like Hollywood's casting practices aren't evolving fast enough. You're one of the biggest stars in the world. People want to hear your thoughts on this issue. Why are we still having this conversation in 2025? Damon, visibly irritated now, responds, his tone sharp. "I'm here to promote a movie, Michael. A movie that took years to make, with a huge team of talented people behind it. And the first question you hit me with is about diversity. You're making it sound like I'm part of the problem." Strahan doesn't flinch. "I'm not saying you are part of the problem, but we can't ignore that there are still major concerns in the industry. You're in a position of power. People want to know how you're using that power." Matt's voice grows louder, his frustration mounting. "You want me to defend myself now? Defend the casting of my film? Like I'm the villain in some kind of Hollywood scandal? It's ridiculous." The audience watches in stunned silence as the clash intensifies. Strahan leans forward, his voice steady but forceful. "It's not about being the villain. It's about asking why certain patterns continue to exist. Why, in 2025, is this still an issue we're talking about?" Damon shakes his head, the anger in his eyes now impossible to miss. "I didn't come here to get interrogated. This is a press tour, not some social justice courtroom. You want me to answer for Hollywood's problems, but I'm not your scapegoat." Strahan doesn't back down. He maintains eye contact, his body language now more assertive, almost challenging Damon to engage. "You're not a scapegoat, Matt, but when you're in a position like yours, people are going to ask tough questions. These aren't just questions about your film, but about the industry at large, the choices that are being made." Damon's voice rises with each word. "You think I don't know that? You think I'm not aware of the decisions that go into making a film? There are hundreds of factors at play. Scheduling, chemistry, box office potential. We didn't make this movie to check boxes or to please social media. We made it with the best actors for the role. Period. The tension between them is palpable, a heavy silence filling the room. Strahan's next words cut through the air like a blade. So, you're saying representation doesn't matter? That. It's irrelevant. Damon's face flushes with a mixture of disbelief and irritation. Don't put words in my mouth, Michael. That's not what I said, and you know it. The studio audience grows more nervous as the two men lock eyes. There's no backing down now. Strahan presses on. I'm just asking you to talk about it. Why are we still having these patterns? Why does it still seem like some people are excluded from major roles? Damon's voice grows louder. Because you're asking about something that's way more complicated than you want to admit. It's not just about diversity. It's about finding the right people for the job. And I'm tired of defending myself for doing what I believe is best for my movie. Now it's Strahan's turn to push back. His voice tightens as he responds, his frustration bubbling to the surface. You're deflecting. Instead of addressing the issue, you're throwing out excuses and refusing to even acknowledge the real concerns people have. Damon lets out a short laugh, but there's no humor in it. So, now I'm the problem. Huh? You want me to apologize for making a film that I'm proud of? Is that what this is about? A public apology for something that isn't even an issue? Strahan's jaw tightens. It's not about an apology. It's about owning up to the reality of your choices. That's what people expect from the people in power. Accountability. Damon's voice rises sharply. I've been in this business for over 30 years. I don't need some journalist trying to hold me accountable like I'm the one making all the mistakes. I know what it takes to make a film, and it's not as simple as sitting in a chair and asking the same tired questions. The words hit like a punch. Strahan doesn't flinch, but the tension in his body is unmistakable. This isn't about me trying to catch you. It's about asking the questions that need to be asked. The real questions. The ones that matter. The atmosphere is thick with tension as both men stand firm, refusing to back down. The audience is now more than just a passive observer. They're part of an unfolding spectacle that's quickly shifting from an interview to a battle of egos. The air crackles with intensity, and it's clear this conversation has crossed into uncharted territory. Strahan shifts in his chair, attempting to regain some control of the situation. Matt, nobody's here to tear you down. But when you're in a position like yours, people are going to ask you tough questions. That's part of the job. It's not about attacking you, it's about the responsibility that comes with your platform. You have the power to affect change, and when people ask why things aren't changing, you don't get to sidestep it. Damon's eyes narrow. He leans forward, clearly agitated. Oh, so now you're trying to lecture me? You don't get it, Michael. I'm not some puppet you can just string along to give you a soundbite. I've been doing this for decades. I don't need to sit here and explain myself to you, or anyone else. If that's what you expect, then maybe I'm not the right person to be on your show. Strahan's patience is starting to wear thin, but he holds his ground. I'm not expecting you to explain yourself, Matt. I'm expecting you to have a real conversation. Instead, you're deflecting and turning this into a personal attack. The issue isn't with you personally, but with the industry that you're a part of. Damon's voice grows louder, sharper. And you're acting like I'm some villain for being part of that industry. Just because I'm a successful actor doesn't mean I'm the problem. Hollywood is a complex machine, and I'm one small piece of it. But you're acting like I have all the answers, like I should be the one to solve it all. Strahan isn't backing down. You're right. You don't have all the answers. But you do have the platform to talk about these issues. And that's why people want to hear your thoughts. Damon stands up abruptly, the tension in his body unmistakable. I've had enough of this. You're not asking me to talk about the film, or the craft, or the work that went into it. You're just trying to get me to apologize for something I don't think is a problem. Strahan, clearly frustrated, stands up as well. I'm not asking you to apologize, Matt. I'm asking you to engage with the real conversation that's happening. the one that's affecting a lot of people in this industry. Damon's face hardens, his jaw clenched. And I'm telling you, Michael, that I'm done with this. You want to make me the villain in this story, and I'm not playing along. The camera captures every second, the tension palpable. The crew can be seen signaling behind the scenes, trying to get them to calm down. But it's too late for that. The damage has been done, and the conversation has taken on a life of its own. The argument continues to escalate, with both men now standing, their faces inches apart. It's no longer about the film, or the casting, or even Hollywood's diversity issue. This has become something more personal. Both men are digging in their heels, unwilling to give an inch. Strahan's voice shakes with a mixture of frustration and disbelief. This isn't about me trying to make a headline, Matt. This is about asking you to think critically about the work you're a part of. You don't get to just brush it off because it's inconvenient for you. Damon, his voice cutting through the tension, snaps back, and you don't get to judge me for being uncomfortable with this. I'm here to talk about my film, not to be grilled by someone who's more interested in making me look bad for their own gain. The co-hosts at the desk exchange nervous glances, but neither Strahan nor Damon seems to notice. The battle between them is now the focus of the entire room. The interview has ceased to be about the movie, or about diversity in Hollywood. It's about power, ego, and pride. Strahan tries one more time to reset the conversation. Matt, sit down. Let's have an adult conversation about this. You've been in this industry for years. You know how it works. So, let's talk about how we can move forward and make this industry better. But Damon's already shaking his head. No, I'm done. I'm not going to sit here and let you manipulate this into some gotcha moment for your show. That's not what this is about. And I'm not going to be your punching bag. Strahan, clearly trying to keep his cool, responds, "This isn't about being a punching bag. This is about holding people in power accountable. And when you refuse to engage with these issues, it makes it harder for the rest of us to make real change." Damon throws his microphone off, signaling the end of the conversation. "I'm out. This is over." The moment Damon stands up, it feels like the entire studio shifts. The tension is no longer contained in the conversation. It's spilled into every corner of the room. The producers behind the cameras scramble, their voices inaudible, trying to defuse the situation. But Damon isn't listening. His stride is quick and purposeful, his back to the camera as he walks off the set. Strahan stands, almost frozen, watching as Damon strides past the crew and producers, heading for the exit. The camera follows him, capturing the raw emotion that's pouring from Damon. The tension between them is now undeniably palpable. The battle of words has escalated into something more intense, and the audience is left in a stunned silence. For a brief second, Strahan looks around, unsure of how to proceed. The co-hosts exchange nervous glances, but there's no clear way to recover the conversation at this point. This was supposed to be an interview about Damon's new movie, but instead, it's spiraled into an all-out confrontation. Strahan's gaze locks onto the camera. He clears his throat and addresses the millions watching, his voice somewhat shaky from the intensity of the moment. "Well, folks, this was definitely not what we expected today. Sometimes interviews don't go as planned, and things get heated." He pauses, his voice softening. "But we need to have these conversations. We need to ask the tough questions." Behind him, Damon is already leaving the set, making his way toward the back entrance. The shot is now focused on Strahan, his chest rising and falling heavily with each breath. He's clearly taken aback by how quickly everything unraveled, but he continues. "Hollywood has its issues, and sometimes those issues need to be addressed, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. This is a part of what we do. We're here to spark conversation, to challenge the status quo. That's not always easy, but it's necessary." The camera follows Damon as he exits the set. The producers try to intercept him, but Damon waves them off. The rest of the crew is frozen in place. This interview, meant to be a fun, light-hearted discussion about a big movie, has now turned into a viral moment no one could have predicted. As the camera cuts to a commercial break, Strahan remains standing in the middle of the set, his mind racing with the aftermath of the confrontation. The energy in the studio is different now. What was once a well-rehearsed, scripted event has quickly spiraled out of control, and Strahan knows it. The clip of Damon walking off is already circulating on social media, quickly picking up traction. Fans, critics, and media outlets begin dissecting every word, every movement. It's already become a hot topic, and Strahan knows this is going to dominate headlines for days, if not weeks. In the back rooms, the producers scramble to regroup. One tries to approach Strahan, but he holds up a hand. He's trying to collect his thoughts, but it's clear that the weight of the situation is starting to sink in. The uncomfortable reality of this fallout is setting in. The entire atmosphere of the studio has shifted, from one of professionalism to something much more tense. Meanwhile, Damon's exit is only adding fuel to the fire. The more people talk about his walkout, the more it becomes a symbol of his refusal to engage in a conversation that challenges him. Some see it as him standing his ground, while others view it as him avoiding accountability. Either way, it's clear that this is no longer just an interview. It's a moment that will go down in television history. Backstage, Strahan reflects on what happened. He doesn't regret asking the tough question, but he knows it was a risk. Sometimes, journalists have to take risks to get the truth. But even he knows that this kind of confrontation could have been avoided if both sides had handled it differently. As the controversy continues to unfold, the conversation about diversity in Hollywood shifts into the spotlight once again. Damon may have walked off the set, but the discussion about Hollywood's diversity problem is far from over. Strahan's question, though uncomfortable, has opened a door that many in the industry may have preferred to remain closed. The real question now is, what happens next? Will this incident serve as a wake-up call for the industry? Will it inspire real change, or will it simply be another viral moment that fades with time? The conversation about representation in Hollywood has been ongoing for years, but this moment has ignited a fire under it. People are paying attention. Whether they agree or disagree, they're talking about it. And for the first time in a long while, the conversation feels raw and unfiltered. Hollywood is a world built on images, and those images are often shaped by who gets cast in leading roles. Strahan's question wasn't just about a film. It was about the larger cultural conversation happening in the entertainment industry. In a world where films are made with millions of dollars at stake, the choices made behind the scenes carry significant weight. In the days that follow, there are countless debates online, in newsrooms, and on social media. Some defend Damon, saying he had the right to walk out, while others argue that he missed an opportunity to engage with the pressing issues that people want answers to. For Strahan, this is more than just a moment of conflict. It's a pivotal point in a much larger conversation. He knows that, even though it didn't go as planned, this interview may just be the catalyst needed to continue pushing Hollywood to examine its own practices. As the dust settles, Strahan and Damon are left with their respective views on the incident. For Strahan, it's about staying true to the role of the journalist, asking tough questions, holding powerful figures accountable, and sparking necessary conversations. For Damon, it's about defending his work and not letting himself be caught in a trap that he feels is unfair. The fallout from the walkout continues to reverberate. Media outlets have covered every angle. Fans have voiced their opinions, and the question on everyone's lips is whether this confrontation was necessary. While the opinions are divided, one thing remains certain. It's forced a broader discussion on Hollywood's responsibility to confront its issues with diversity. Strahan, meanwhile, knows the impact of this moment. He may not have gotten the answer he expected, but he got something much bigger, a moment that forces people to reflect on the state of the industry and ask questions that need to be asked. As the interview fades from public view, the questions remain. Has Hollywood learned anything from this moment? Will Damon's walkout change the way celebrities engage with uncomfortable conversations in the future? One thing is for sure, the conversation is far from over,